Picture this, two guys trapped in the South Charleston Public Library. One guy loves movies, the other, well, he'd rather be watching reality TV. Can they survive each other's films? Find out on Real Opposites, a library podcast about movies, hosted by Josh and Aaron from the South Charleston Public Library.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Real Opposites. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
And we're back to discuss our movies from last podcast.
Yeah, from the last podcast.
I was going to say last week, but it's 2 weeks. We are down to...
It's been a bit.
It's not last month anymore.
Yeah.
So...
2 a month.
That's right.
For your auditory pleasure.
Four movies that I have to watch. But, so we're discussing today the Belko experiment.
Yes, which you picked for me.
And I had to watch The Thing.
Yes.
So, Belko experiment
yeah,
was my choice. It's newer. It was what, 2018?
2016.
2016. Man, time flies.
Which I feel like, I don't know why, but yeah, maybe, it's been 6 years. I feel like, because I remember seeing the ads for it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was older. I thought it was like maybe 2011, 2012.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize it was only like, 6 years ago.
I thought it was 2018, so.
What are you? Oh.
That's... I still consider movies that came out like 10 years ago a new movie, so...
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it's newer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why did you pick the Belko experiment and why do you like it?
So I think it's kind of a fun movie. I mean, in all the like murderous ways that it can be, but it's very fast paced. It kind of jumps straight into it. There's not a long backstory, because you don't need a backstory.
I mean, it's very short. It's like 83 minutes.
Yeah. I also like that.
It's only 2 episodes or less than 2 episodes of Survivor.
This is true, and that's about my attention span. But no, I liked the concept of the movie, the idea behind it. When I first saw the trailer, I had worked in a call center back in the day, and I remember like starting a little short story, and it was similar to the concept of that.
Yeah.
Mine was more a murderer, but...
I too worked in a call center.
Yeah.
And had thoughts like this.
I feel like probably everybody that has ever worked in a call center.
Yeah, I feel like they should like show this movie.
Right.
Like as an annual event.
Yeah, that would totally work.
Work in a call center somewhere.
Like an appreciation party. You get one slice of pizza and that movie.
Yeah.
But
it's just not this bad, guys.
Right. That's true. It may be horrible, but it's not this.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I saw that trailer, I was like, I have to see this. And then I don't know. I end up really liking it.
Yeah.
It's kind of, like I said, fun in a murderous way.
I enjoyed it. First off, when it started and I saw the credits, I didn't realize James Gunn wrote it. Who, of course, did like the Guardians of the Galaxy and the new Suicide Squad, which was awesome. And I'm more like, he made Slither.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you've ever seen.
No.
It was like 2000.
I know of it.
2006, I think. It's like it's such a great little like monster movie, kind of like The Blob or something. Mm-hmm. Great cast. He uses a lot of the same casts. So of course, like I think at the end, Greg Henry shows up, and I think he's the mayor in Slither, and he's just the most despicable POS ever. I love him. He shows up at the end of this, and his brother Sean Gunn is in it, of course. But yeah, I didn't realize he wrote it and actually was going to direct it, but decided not to for like personal issues.
Yeah, I saw it.
And
that
he was like prepping Guardians at this point. Like he was getting on that.
I know it said something like he didn't want to spend that long filming such a violent movie.
Yeah.
At that time in his life.
It's like it's a lot of fun. It kind of feels like a short film, kind of made into the theatrical. Like it's a pretty simple concept. I mean, really, it's people surviving in a building.
Right, exactly.
It's basically like a giant saw trap in a lot of ways. It kept me engaged the whole time. It kept moving. It definitely had that kind of James Gunn sense of humor about it, like really dark sense of humor.
Yeah, which I actually love a dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Even some of the murders were just
very creative.
You follow Danny, I think was her name, was the new girl.
Yeah.
Like you start off by seeing her joining the company, and they talk about putting a microchip in her. Mm-hmm. And you follow her, and you really think, of course, you think Mike is going to be a final person.
Yeah.
But it kind of seemed like they were setting her up to be a final girl.
Yeah.
Because she kept being throughout the whole movie and just surviving in different ways. And like her death,
Yeah, it's shocking.
It's shocking, but it almost makes you giggle a little bit in a dark way.
He likes to do that a lot. He did that in, Suicide Squad. He did that a lot. Kills half the cast. And
okay.
He gets you invested in the characters, and you just kind of like instantly can relate to them.
Right.
Because they just seem like normal people, you know?
Yeah.
And then he just kills them mercilessly later.
Yeah. But I thought one thing I like about this movie is you can attach to so many different people. They all have characters, even the background people that's there to only die. Like at some point in the movie, they have something that gives them some kind of character where it makes their death a little sad.
Yeah, there's a little bit of business they got going on.
So, I mean, I think the final body count in the movie is 84.
Yeah.
So you have 84 deaths, and almost every one matters. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Except you do have the scene, which even then, some of them are people that you've already been attached to. But when they fail to kill two people,
at the start,
and there's the 30 some that are killed, and they have the Spanish version of California Dreaming playing over this medley. It's just like a medley and just scenes of death,
exploding heads,
exploding heads because they do explode the microchips, and then just people like running and their heads blowing up, and it's just a Spanish version of California Dreaming in the background.
I love that version of California Dreaming.
Yeah.
The phrase you're looking for is a montage of death.
Montage. Yes. That's what I was trying to say. Yes.
A montage.
It was a great montage. Which I also liked the music. It was funny too, because in the beginning when they're driving in, Mike is in his car, and on the radio is a Spanish version of I Will Survive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's true.
And it's kind of setting you up.
True.
It's a little bit of a foreshadow.
Well, where are they in? Colombia? I think it's Colombia.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that it would all
because
be like
the locals get sent home.
Yeah,
It
all
is
the like
just
janitors and all those people,
They're not microchipped.
Yeah.
Also, there's little things like that, and the little corn cob like figurine he buys as he's driving in.
Oh, yeah,
It makes its way through different people have it throughout the movie because I guess they have found it and picked it up, and you'll see them dead with it.
Oh,
and then
That's
he ends up with it at the end.
Yeah.
So it's just little things like that I think are really cool.
Yeah,
and especially in something like this where it's just murder.
Yeah, you can tell there was like a lot of thought put into the script, and I mean, I especially like his horror stuff.
Yeah,
like more than the Guardians movies.
I'm gonna have to check out some more of his horror stuff. I love this.
He also wrote the Dawn of the Dead remake, which was fantastic.
Oh, okay.
The Dawn of the Dead remake is fantastic, but you'd probably really like Slither. It's zany. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But Dawn of the Dead, actually, I'm not sure if it was written in the script. There's a montage. It's like them getting situated in the mall because that's where they're hiding out, you know. And it's like a Robert Goulet style version of Down with the Sickness.
I think I've seen that version of Dawn of the Dead.
Have you?
I think
it's really good. It's got the zombie baby. You'd remember that.
I mean, it's been a while.
Okay. That's like,
but I remember the mall, and then they get in like a bus or a big vehicle.
Yeah,
and they're driving,
That's
and
they're dead. Yeah,
they're like up on the roof with signs and things like that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's cool. So I like his horror stuff a lot, and he like what he did in Suicide Squad, where he really makes you, especially in that one, he really makes you fall in love with the characters. And
okay.
But yeah, Belko. Sorry, I'm talking about every other movie except for Belko.
Well, it's related. It's fine.
Yeah, I really liked it. I love the ensemble. It was really nice to see John C. McGinley, who most people probably know him from Scrubs. But,
okay. I like Tony Goldwyn.
Yeah, Tony Goldwyn, yeah.
Which goes back to what Ghost.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Like he's forever scarred by that film because I'll never not see him. It's just kind of like this yuppie dweeb, like even when he's playing, even like I like him as an actor and he's a good actor, and I see him in stuff where he's playing like the good guy or the straight guy, and in the back of my head I'm like no, you screwed over Patrick Swayze and tried to no.
Oh my God, James Gunn also did Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah,
the Scooby-Doo movies.
I think that was his first writing gig.
I like those.
They're so good.
They were good. They were really good.
They're really terrible, but like they're very generational.
But yeah, and Tony Goldwyn was in Scandal.
Oh yeah, he was on that for a while.
Yeah. He played the president. So it was cool to see him in a movie where he was back to being pretty vicious.
Yeah, I mean, I like these kind of movies where they put just normal people in a situation, and similar to The Thing. Like, I don't know how we picked this again, where it's like people just in an isolated situation trying to survive.
Right.
And I like those kind of movies, especially if they're pretty efficient and sharply written. Like, this is well written. I mean, it keeps you guessing, like, what
Right.
are they actually start killing each other, and who's going to do it? And I think Tony Goldwyn comes on, and I just kind of like him for the most part. Like, he just seems like a normal guy, and then it starts going downhill.
And he realizes what he needs to do.
Yeah, and he's like one of those guys that's just like, okay, well, we're just going to have to kill all of you.
Which I think he did have a military background, so it was probably a little easier for him to, in the movie, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing I really liked about this is it touches, which we'll talk about The Thing too, but it touches on just how people react in a situation and how mass panic creates more of a mess than it is. And that's one thing with this movie and the way it was written. That's why it keeps you guessing, because it's people just snap at any moment.
Yeah, and like people were put under pressure cooker, and at any certain point they reach a point, and it's just that's it. They're done. And I like movies like thrillers, kind of like this, which I think it's a horror movie, I guess, but it leans more towards the thriller genre. Like they give you a timetable, so it's like I forget how long it is. Like in the movie, like
how long they have.
Every hour they have to. Whatever.
I think it ended up being at the end of 2 hours, whoever's killed the most.
Okay, 2 hours, but
that's after like 30 some had already died.
It's a smart way to bring suspense into a film. It's just saying, no, you have 2 hours to do this, and
Yeah, because every minute they're spending not killing somebody, that it's just eating away at that time.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's getting closer. And they do that really well with before they start killing the 30. You see, I'm pretty sure it was the Danny girl is in, I think it was her, in the office, and there needs to be one more body.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be one more person killed. And there's the guy that was working with Barry, Norris, Tony.
Yeah.
That is entering the room, and you see her take apart a paper cutter, and she has it to use like a machete. And you're like, well, she's finally going to fight back. Here's the going to be the other body. And just like how long that scene takes builds that suspense, because when that scene started, it was like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And somebody has to be dead.
Yeah.
But then she ends up not killing him.
Yeah, I remember that scene. That was...
But they really built the suspense with it, with the 2 minutes.
They draw out the 2 minutes.
Right.
It's like...
Because it's all that scene.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, this has to be the death.
Yeah, I mean, it's very well made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was really great. I love seeing Michael Rooker and David Dastmalchian, I think. He was in Suicide Squad, and Michael Rooker's been in pretty much everything Sean Gunn's made. Or I keep calling him Sean. That's his brother who's in the movie. James Gunn. Michael Rooker's been in everything he's made, I think.
Oh, okay.
Consequently, his brother is also pretty much at everything he's made.
His brother is.
That's about
I keep saying the name. But yeah, I really liked it, and I like that this isn't the only time they've done this. It seems like.
Yeah, no. So at the end, it pans away, and it's a monitor. They're doing it simultaneously at all their locations, and
it kind of reminds me of Cabin in the Woods a little bit.
Yes,
it's got that kind of vibe.
Yeah,
but I like that says like it's a little with satirical, like corporations and how much they really value their employees,
right? Exactly,
and everything. It's a lot of fun. I like that little bent.
And when they're pulling away, it sets it up like there could have been a second one, but I guess where he killed that guy, I don't know. Yeah. But it says round one complete, move on to next level or something like that.
Yeah,
where I'm assuming they were going to pit all the winners together. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's a little bit like Battle Royale in a certain way, like a corporate Battle Royale. You ever seen that movie?
No, but I saw that they did.
It's Hunger Games.
They said he did pull from that.
Yeah.
She says she's the lady who wrote Hunger Games, so she never saw Battle Royale, but
I don't buy that.
I don't buy that at all. Oh. It is like pretty much...
Yeah, I mean...
Like the first Hunger Games book is pretty much shot for shot Battle Royale, like down to the ending.
Yeah.
Not to ruin the ending, but like...
I don't even care for Battle Royale that much, but it's definitely been influential.
It's a bunch of a classroom full of rebellious kids get dropped off on an island and told they need to kill each other to survive. So it's one of those
Is there a nice killing montage?
There's a nice killing montage.
There's lots of killing.
And Yeah, there's lots of murder.
It turns out that maybe I really like a montage of death because that was one of my favorite parts of Godfather was the montage of death when he's at the christening and there's just death happening. That was my favorite part in that.
Well, there's nothing like a good montage,
especially if it's done well.
Oh yeah,
like that one, The Godfather. It was done in just amazing shots, and it was. Yeah, and the way the two, like good and evil, were, but this
it's contrasting Michael, the christening, with all the terrible things Michael's doing to his,
and that's why it was so good. This one is just one of those where it's
just
that
fun.
dark comical,
heads.
Right? It's exploding heads, yet you know the California Dreaming playing in the background, which there's another version, a different Spanish version at the end of the movie of California Dreaming as well. Those are like the three main songs in it.
Yeah.
Well, two songs 3 times. But I don't know. It's just that was a good part. They didn't murder enough people and people's heads just start exploding. And like the graphics are pretty decent. For something for mass killing.
You mean like the makeup effects and everything? Yeah. I mean for
it to be that many deaths.
Yeah, like, for not being like a huge budget movie, it looked really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it all takes place in largely just like office spaces, so it's not like super extravagant. Because usually like CG blood will take me out of it. It's gotten better in the recent years, but it's still, Yeah. And I don't remember being taken out, so I'm thinking most of it was practical effects,
Yeah.
There was some really good stuff. I like the bit where the guy is trying to cut it out his head.
Oh my!
That was a little like wince.
Yeah, but it also gives, like you said, like a Saw trap kind of feel.
Yeah.
Because there are many times they had to like dig something out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And anytime it's like that, you have that wincing about it, but it's also one of those things that gets you thinking, like, could I do that? Could I cut that out? Like. I don't know. It just works to bring so many.
Would you do?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's a movie like where what is it? Where a woman's pulling her like fingernails off. That's one of the ones that gets me.
I don't know, but I feel like I've seen that.
I mean, I've seen it. It's been in several movies.
That is one thing that gets me in movies is anything with fingernails coming off.
Like some people, it's like eyeball stuff, which I get. And
no, fingernails it looks way more painful. I've lost fingernails like that, so it hurts.
Wait till you get to your next pick. There's a little bit. You don't really see it, but the aftermath is.
Yeah.
I don't know. From what it's somewhere, I want to say it's The Ring, but I don't think it's The Ring.
Well, here's the thing. It has to be something I've seen.
Where they're like
Black Swan. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah.
Well,
where she's pulling.
Turns out I have seen that.
So she's going through like I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
No. So I've seen it in something else.
She's going through like her transition.
Yeah, it's like a transition. So she's like, I think she's growing. So I remember she's growing like wings too, and her toenails, especially because she's a ballet dancer.
Yeah,
and so at the start, even before like it starts to get like surreal. It's just the reality of the wear it puts on your toes and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And eventually, she starts peeling off her toenails, and
so there has to be another movie that I've seen that does it.
The other one I was thinking was District 9.
I haven't seen that one.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake.
I like
in there somewhere. I don't remember where in that one though.
With old girl
with Jessica Biel.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely have seen that one.
Yeah, that's why like you've seen that. I know you've seen that. So maybe it's something in there.
Yeah.
District 9 has a lot of good body horror in it, like where he's changing into an alien and is like mixing DNA and stuff. And there's like scenes like early on that's one of the first things that happens is his nails start falling off.
I've thought about watching District 9 a couple times, and I guess this will feed into the thing eventually, but I'm not a big like alien person.
Yeah.
Oculus also.
I have one of those.
The newer
it's a
horror
movie.
movie. Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the VR thing.
I was looking at top 3 fingernail scenes in horror.
I was Googling.
Top 13 fingernails. The Fly has a fingernail
Who knows?
removal scene.
It could be something completely random.
Oh yeah, The Fly. That's a good one.
That is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Descent.
remake.
Yeah.
I was thinking you might have been right with The Ring and the fact that it's in the video they watch.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Something with fingernails in the video.
That's right.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, because there it is. Nail being broken through the force of a different.
Ooh, with a nail.
Yeah, that's right. The nail going through the nail.
And then it.
Oh, yeah.
And it like bends the nail off. Ugh. But I still think I've seen somebody
that's
pull their nails
PG-13.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they do they're talking about Stir of Echoes next, which is a really good one. I remember being nail stuff in that one. But The Ring is like, for PG-13, that movie's hard.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
like
I remember
It was scary.
The Ring. Fully touching on that, the death scene of the girl in the
closet.
The closet.
Yeah.
That is a scene that got me.
That.
It was like ingrained in my brain.
Yeah, I remember going to see that.
I had dreams about it.
Yeah, I remember going to see that in theaters, and I just couldn't get that image out of my head the rest of the evening.
Like every time I closed my eyes, I saw it. So it was, I mean, The Ring was
like,
decent.
you don't have to do like some crazy stuff to get a creepy movie. Like it just has to be the right correctly. Image at the right time, and it'll stay with you.
Yeah, 100%.
So anyway, Belko Experiment's really good.
Yeah. Back to the actual podcast where. Yeah, so I think this movie is just fun.
Yeah.
There's tons of death, also fun. And but it's done so well, and like I was talking about with the final girl, or what I thought was going to be the final girl when I first watched it, Danny. I mean, she's basically escaping. Her elevator opens, and then Barry just shoots her.
Yeah,
and
it's just like it's out of nowhere.
Her death scene is out of nowhere. It's 1 second long when she's been one of the main people through the whole movie. I love when you can you can't hold on to anybody because they could be murdered.
Yeah.
It's like a Stephen King book. He doesn't hold back on killing his characters.
Yeah, I mean they set her up like she's the main character,
right?
And then it's kind of split between her and Mike. Yeah, and it's like
so with Belko.
Okay.
Do you have like a favorite? Well, I don't know. Some of them weren't that great, or that special. But do you have a favorite death?
I liked the Michael Rooker and David Dastmalchian. They're like they spend most of the time like down in the basement working on the air conditioning. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why. I guess they still had to have some sort of maintenance crew,
right?
That were chipped. So I think it doesn't Lonnie end up killing Michael Rooker, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like that. I like their little bit of business down there, and it was like Rooker played that because I think he like throws him up against the wall he hits him with a hammer.
I think it's a wrench.
Or a wrench, yeah.
Or something like that.
He hits him with a wrench. Mm-hmm. And the way Rooker plays like that, like he just slowly is like losing consciousness and like just slowly dying before your eyes. That's my favorite death in the movie. And I like that like they have their little bit of business, like those two together.
Right.
They play off each other really well, and like I don't want to see that. That really hurt.
Right.
Like, those two to kill each other.
Because it was the first it's like the first kill.
Michael Rooker. Yeah, and like Rooker's a great actor. Yeah. But if you've never seen Henry Portrait of Serial Killer, it's actually what we were talking about Dahmer earlier. Mm-hmm. Off the it's kind of the first episode feels a lot like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's like very, very straightforward, like matter of fact. Yeah, he's Henry.
Oh, okay.
And he's a great actor when he's really given material. And I just thought he played that really well, and I like that interplay. So that's probably my favorite kill in the movie.
Yeah, that's mine. That's why I asked.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Because you do. That's the first two you really get.
Like you're attached to,
and you're kind of attached to them.
Because is it before that they do all the, or is that after?
It's after.
That's after.
He's the first death.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, because it's
a couple weeks ago I watched it, so
it's kind of accidental because he's just like angry.
Yeah.
And he does it because he's freaking out.
Yeah.
And you get like the dent in the head.
Yeah.
Which didn't look like super fake or anything. Like it was good.
It was a good effect.
And it was the type of kill that he was dying slowly, and he's like, something's happening. Like he doesn't know what's happening, but
it's like I don't know.
But it also is like a nice slow death. And
it's not like bloody or anything. It's just like,
and
it's hard to watch though.
It is because there's like heart in it because you do feel for that character already. But it also it kind of reminds me of my favorite death scene, which we've talked about before.
Oh, God.
Amelin in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But just because it's that slow death, but his is not funny.
A much better death that's also a slow death is the hammer death in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, yeah.
That's
a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well,
you get twitchy.
Oh God, that one's so hard to watch. Similar to the.
But yeah, the Texas Chainsaw thing actually reminds me of the Danny getting shot in the face. It's like it's out of nowhere. It's like really sudden. Like
and I would say that's probably my other favorite death, just because it was totally unexpected. It seemed like they were setting you up for something totally different.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, she made it. Nope, she sure did.
Nope, she did.
But yeah, that first, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the first death, but you're already invested, and it happens so quick into the movie. Mm-hmm. Which
it's not long after they're like locked down and stuff.
Yeah, and it also involves Danny because she's hiding in the basement.
That's right. Yeah,
and she's the one that kills Lonnie.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too. That whole scene.
Yeah, it's the one scene because he's like going after her because he realizes she saw him kill him. Yeah, and then she shoves him off of her, and that's who hits the nail and dies. He got a nail to the head. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
So
that's a good scene. That's my favorite scene in the movie. Probably.
So your first kill comes from Lonnie, and then your second kill is Danny.
Yeah.
So they set her up right there for surviving. But
yeah,
yeah,
good movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there with Coyote Ugly for you.
Oh hell. I mean, it's like number 2 next to Dahmer.
Okay,
so
that's good. Lord. Yeah, I really liked it. I'm glad that you liked it. I figured it held up.
Really, as soon as I saw the James Gunn thing, I was like, oh, I'm probably going to like this quite a bit.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
you need to watch Slither, though, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I need to order that for the library.
Slither's great. Since it's our October spooky season thing, anybody can answer this question. Okay. But you have to put your finger on it. So what is scary about the Belko experiment, and is it scary to you?
What is scary about
it? What makes it scary? What makes it a spooky movie?
What's scary about it is that at this point in time, it doesn't seem that ridiculous.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like something similar would be like The Running Man, the movie, the book. I mean, the movie's like, you look at stuff like Fear Factor and like all these like reality shows where the people are in mortal danger. Like, we'll throw you on an island. Fine. You'll see if you survive.
Right.
And it's like, I imagine this as being like
an extreme version.
Like an extreme version for like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos.
There you go.
Like, let's get about 80 people, office workers in a building, and we'll just get them to kill each other.
Right.
And then we'll watch it and eat popcorn. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't see that being that far off.
Right. And
a lot of this.
And that's what I was saying earlier. And it does touch on that whole, they're kind of, they're being forced to kill. But the scarier part is the unknown of how people are going to react in a situation like that, and the manic and all the panic and that everybody goes through.
Yeah.
And I like stuff like that where it touches on, I can't think of the word right now, but basically touches on how people react to things. Mm-hmm. Just like, going back to Stephen King again, Stephen King's Under the Dome.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically what it is. Now, I will say it's one of my favorite books by him, but the ending is not my favorite because it involves aliens. But like the whole book is just people trying to survive when something has happened that's blocked them in.
Yeah. Those kind of situations are always like this, some of the scariest to me. Like,
they're more realistic in a way.
Like people panicking and like crowds panicking and like mob mentality kind of thing. Even though it's not so much in this movie because it's more just individuals trying to survive, maybe like small groups. But like that's one of the scariest things that just in general.
Well, that's because it happens.
Yeah, I mean it's like an organism. Like you get like a bunch of people together.
And it spreads.
Yeah, which we're going into the thing.
That's true.
And it's like it's just there's like no individual anymore. It's just a collective group that's
the word I was trying to think of. There's a word for it.
And it's like somehow their humanity's lost in like this.
And it becomes like a mass hysteria.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's definitely the scariest thing. And like I always think of I may have mentioned this, but like the War of the Worlds remake where they're just like in a car and they end up crashing the car and then just people are just swarming the car trying to get the car because it's the only car that works.
Oh.
And it's like that scene is one of the most intense scenes in any movie.
Yeah.
Like that stuff scares me more than any. That and the Ring Girl.
Yeah. The Ring Girl and just like the human mind.
Yeah.
and how frail. It's that ripped open.
Yeah, it's like her
scare.
jaw's broken.
Yeah.
And it's like she's
And
it looks
such
like
terror.
Well, and it looks like she's been there for like 8 days.
Right.
And it's like starting to decompose and like that movie's 20 years old. I can
still see it.
I can see it in my head.
100%. That's when you know it's a good scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you liked this one.
Me too.
Because it's a fun movie and I really like it. So, going good so far.
Yeah.
So, we're going to have a couple announcements about the library and then we'll discuss the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this month at the library, of course, we have ongoing events. You can get our calendar online or in person. All the youth events are going on, and we have adult events as well. Two that we want to mention. First is, of course, Real Cinephiles. And Josh, if you want to tell us about that.
On October 14th, we're going to be showing Halloween Kills, which is like the day that the new one, Halloween Ends, comes out. So before you go see Halloween Ends, come watch Halloween Kills here.
Nice.
And get your picture taken with a crispy Michael Myers.
All right. That sounds...
That's starting at... The photo ops will start at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
The movie will start at 5:30.
And that's what day?
It's Friday, October 14th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. The other event is we're going to do a 90s trivia on October 17th. So it's going to be like a trivia night and themed 90s. We're telling people to dress up in their favorite 90s type clothing.
Get your hammer pants out.
That's right. And just come join us for some trivia and fun. It should be a good time.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So,
Will be emceeing the event.
yeah, that is true.
Born in the 90s.
Yeah.
I don't know quite as much about that.
Yeah, so join us for that. I think it will be fun. Trivia is fun. I'm not that great at it, but it's still fun. That's why I'm emceeing, so I don't have to answer the questions.
If there was a Britney Spears trivia, you'd be the champion.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But I think that's pretty much everything we have going on. Like I said, you can follow us on all of social media, our information off our website. Just keep up with what's going on here. We always have events for all ages. So
Yeah.
Yep.
So, The Thing.
Yes. Tell us why you chose it.
So, The Thing is my all-time favorite horror movie. John Carpenter's probably my second favorite director. This is his best movie. He thinks it's his best movie.
Yeah, I did read that.
What I love about it is, I get like flustered because I love the movie so much. But there's so I just love the sense of, of course, the sense of paranoia. These men trapped in the Antarctic with, with a thing, an alien that they changes shape and takes over bodies and morphs and the way he frames everything and plays it, like, it's so unclear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he never really answers any questions about who is the thing and what is the thing at any given moment. He just gives you little clues about maybe they are, maybe they're not, and and he just plays into the paranoia so well. And the group of actors are so unique and dynamic. Of course, Kurt Russell and Keith David are fantastic. They're my favorites. They're the ones that end up at the end. God, it's like one of those movies. I don't know how to explain why I love it so much.
You just do.
I just do. I don't know.
You just do.
I just love this movie. It's like I watch it. I watch it at least once a year.
Yeah.
Sometimes twice a year. Like if we get snowed in, this is my movie to watch. Like if we get like a foot of snow or something, it's usually like this or Hateful Eight's another good one. Because it's just like, I don't know, that's that vibe that I want on a snow day.
Right.
Is to watch the
Well,
thing.
the same as I like to watch Twister when it's storming outside.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah. I saw Twister was in North Carolina, and then I walked outside and there was a tornado.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. I love when that happens.
I was like,
when you go to a movie and then you come out.
I was like, quickly, let me run to the Burger King. But anyway, just like the opening notes of the score, like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty rare because Carpenter composes all of his scores,
but not this one.
but not this one. Even though he had a hand in it, it was Ennio Morricone who did like Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and like one of the best composers ever. Also, you know, like the opening notes of the score, and it's just like those little bits just kind of set up the dread already, like before anything happens, and that just permeates throughout the whole movie. Like, you know, Carpenter can be a pretty like nihilistic director. Like, there's not his movies aren't full of hope except for Starman, and it's a hopeless situation.
Right.
And even what they end up doing at the end, you know, where they burn the camp, like the flames, like Kurt Russell's like, the flames are going to burn out. It's going to freeze.
Yeah.
Someone's going to come looking for us. And it's like, that's the end of the world. You're watching the end of the world right now. And it's contained in this small camp in the Antarctic. You just haven't seen what's going to happen after this, you know? And it's like, and then it's like fun to think about the other worlds that the thing has been to, that it's consumed, you know,
Right.
and that it's taken over, and it's bringing to Earth. Sorry, what?
You're getting so much joy out of this.
I love
and
I love this movie, man.
It's good. I know, but it's good to see somebody like have that kind of passion for something. And it's just, I like listening to you talk about things that you really like. So I'm enjoying that.
Good. And, you know, it's got so many great lines and moments.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta be effing kidding me. Like, it's like the greatest delivery. And like my favorite scene is still like, it's probably the ending, just because I love how ambiguous the whole thing is.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like, there's some really great videos, like people that have spent a lot of time watching this movie, and they'll analyze like who's the thing and what's, and it's like Keith David's his jacket is slightly different than it was earlier. So does that mean he's changed? You know, because it can't take
Complete.
Yeah, it only takes like the actual body, not the clothes or anything.
Yeah.
It has to be organic, you know. But then the part that always gets to me is when they're doing the pads on the guy that's having a heart attack.
I can't think of it. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm suddenly blanking on who the character was.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Oh, it's on Vance, when Doc is on Vance giving him the shock in his heart in the pads. So I was training CPR, you know, because I was a trainer at one point, and anytime I ever thought about doing CPR, or I never had to do it actually, but the only thing I would ever think about is that scene, and I'm going to push too hard
And just pop open.
and just pop open someone's chest, and then the teeth are
That was a good one.
Teeth are going to bite my arms off.
Right.
Oh my God, the movie is, that's just me gushing about how much
All
I love
right.
the movie. So what did you think, Aaron?
Well, I liked it.
Yeah.
I've said this many times that you have to remember, I'm going back and watching these movies so long after they're made. So there's some stuff that doesn't hold up.
It's 40 years old this year.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So I mean, there's going to be little things that don't hold up. There's a lot of what I consider just little funny things that happen because it's an old movie. Just some of the sounds that they use, sound effects and things like that. That anytime I go back and watch an older movie, that's there. Because that's just what was at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There was a scene where somebody punches somebody, and the punch just, the sound effect they used for it was just
like
very, it was just very animated.
Okay, yeah.
And in the movie setting, it was just funny to me, which I like to laugh, so that works. I will say, I thought it's action-packed, but at the same time, it's kind of slow.
It is. It's methodical.
Yeah. But there was I think it was towards just the beginning, getting into it. And I think it's because we kind of get hints as to what's going on. So it's almost like you're ahead of the characters as to you're let in a little bit as to knowing what's going on. So I think that made it feel extra slow for me at the beginning because it's them trying to figure it out, but I already kind of know.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So I will say it's a little bit slow.
Yeah. It employs irony.
Right.
That is the suspense, is and you want to tell them, don't go
Right.
in there. Don't
Like,
And that's what I say. Like,
yeah.
it's
They
done
don't
on
know they're
purpose.
in a horror movie.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, once this gets started, it's
really,
kind of constantly doing something.
yeah, there's always something going on to take your attention to to make you uneasy about who's what
Right.
and what's going to happen next.
Yeah, and there was a lot of things you said in your description, but I didn't want to interrupt you talking about it, that I'm going to touch on because that was some of my notes. But just like you said, the music, even the music at the intro, it's the music for this, I think, really worked. And I liked it. It built a suspense. It was the right kind of music at the right kind of time. And there were just shots even that, I mean, they might have made more sense to somebody else, but some of them didn't make sense to me. But they were, I remember the only one I remember is it was like a shot of a hallway, but there was this intense music playing, and I thought, man, something's about to happen. But then it just like went to another scene. Nothing happened. I don't know. I don't remember exactly when that was.
I like,
but it built that suspense.
Yeah, I think I know like where that is. It's like, I think it's kind of after something's happened maybe, and there's just like
it's just like a fadeaway, I guess.
Yeah, and it's
basically.
like
But it's kind of a long shot of a hallway, and it's like, what else is happening?
Well, that's one of the things he does so well is he makes use of the space
right.
that he has, so it was actually shot on sound stages when they like froze the sets down like 40 degrees so they get the breath.
But I did see also Kurt Russell would take a puff of a cigarette before he had lines.
Oh, okay.
To give him more breath.
Oh, okay.
Look,
that's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah, he uses the space so well, and like that, like shots like that are just like little throwaway shots, but it's like this empty space where, somewhere and off in a room, one of them is the thing,
right? And
like,
that's what I was saying. It just builds the suspense, and it's that shot paired with the music that was playing that it's like, man, what's going to happen next? Yeah. And just like at the ending, which is ambiguous, like you said, I've read about that too, but it did leave me wondering too, because I think it's kind of set up to make you think they're going to die there.
Yeah, they're both dying.
Yeah, which is going to stop any possible spread because they've killed it.
Depending on how quickly rescue comes. And
that's what I mean.
It's like if someone comes and finds them.
But they're sitting in the Antarctic. I mean, they're probably going to die.
It survived in the ice for like hundreds of years.
Right.
No, thousands. It's like
it also leads
I think
you
they
to
say
believe,
like 100,000 years or something. It's been sitting there.
100,000, something like that. But it does lead you to believe that neither one of them
is going to make it out.
No, they're both
neither one of them. Well, that neither one of them are the thing.
You don't know that though.
But that's what I was going to say. But when I was watching it, and then I read that other people have the same thing. For me, there was a shot, and it's right when McReady, which is Kurt, takes the sip from the bottle. They play this certain music. It's just another intense music, and the camera pans to.
Oh, is this when he's
Clark Childs? It's after they're already there. It's the ending shot.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it's the way that the camera pans to Childs with the music that I thought something was about to happen right then. I thought that's when we were going to find out which one of them was the thing.
Oh, okay.
And then, and then it ended. And I'm not going to lie, I was like, did I look away? Did something happen? So I did rewind it.
I know what you're talking about. I think like the theme starts to kick in. Like when
that's what it is. But it's that beginning of that theme. It was kind of ambiguous in its own self.
Yeah.
And then that shot, and I did rewind it because I was like, I know I didn't fall asleep, but I feel like I missed something. And I was like, no, that's just how it was shot. And I like that though, because it has an ending. Mm-hmm. But, which I think we've talked about this with other movies, it has an ending. Squid in the Well, I think, was one of them. We said this. It does have that ending, but at the same time, it leaves it open to you don't know for sure.
No.
Like, what happened after that? Were they quickly rescued and then it spread? Did they die?
No, they're dead.
That's my opinion. They're both dead.
Yeah, I mean, like.
But it is nice.
I think even they're talking about, like, Kurt Russell McCready is talking about how the fires are going to go out.
Right.
It's going to get cold. And, even though they blew up the camp and blew up the Blair monster, down in the basement and everything, it's still there.
Yeah.
And it'll still find a way life finds a way.
Yeah.
It's just one of the best endings. Like, you just don't know.
And I like those kind of endings.
He does that a lot. Like, most of his movies are just bummer endings. Like, everyone's like, the world's ending, everyone's dying. Like, this is the first in his, I guess, like, Apocalypse trilogy. Mm-hmm. Like this, Prince of Darkness, and then The Mouth of Madness, and they're all about the end of the world.
Oh, okay.
Various
And the Mouth of Madness is great.
Yes. It's like one of the, I mean, it's the third in his Apocalypse trilogy, and it's really like that and Event Horizon were like the only 2 movies that ever freaked me out. I was like, I'm just going to stay away from Sam Neill movies.
Event Horizon's like...
It's super creepy.
Oh, God.
It still kind of gets under my skin a little bit, the way it opens, and just like the concept of this alternate hell dimension is really cool. Anyway,
I'm not
the
seeing
thing. So back to the thing.
Yeah, so I like how it ended. There were a couple scenes that stood out to me. I think it's when the first person is possessed, or
I know they say copies. I think Blair says copies.
Oh, okay, maybe it was copies then. It was something very simple.
Yeah.
But anyways, the first person, I think it's the first person that it happens to, and they just get this like, I think it might be like their face is stretching a little bit or something, but they do this horrible scream.
Oh no, yeah, it's George Bennings. It's Bennings.
Yeah.
And he's like, they chase him out into
Snow.
And like his arm is still in the process of transforming, and he lets out this like alien sound, like
it's
just
like a horrible
from your nightmares.
scream.
Yeah. And then they burn him alive.
Yeah, they burn him alive. Which, I mean, after that scream, who wouldn't? But that was one of those scenes that it was like, whoa, okay. I think that's when it kind of picked up for me.
Yeah, I mean that's the first big like. Well, I mean there's stuff like with the dog at the start. And
yeah,
like,
you do.
And I love how they set up like where they go to this. Is it Swedish? Where they go to the Norwegian.
They're Norwegian. They're not Swedish.
They're not Swedish.
They're Norwegian.
I got it mixed up. They go to the Norwegian camp, you know, and just like I love stuff like that where they're like where you're walking around like a place where some real went down, you know, and like it's all dilapidated, and there's, you know,
like something clearly has happened.
And the guy there who's slit his wrists and the blood's frozen in his wrists. Like, the makeup effects are.
Yeah.
Rob Bottin did them, and it was like his first big job, and they're still probably the best makeup effects because it's like it's art like that.
Right.
That's one of my favorite in the movie, and that moment is like it's terrible and it's horrific, but it's also beautiful,
right.
and it's like. That's how a lot of the makeup effects are. And then later on where they bring in the charred remains of Bennings, and it's like smoking, and Wilford Brimley is like poking it with a pencil, and it's like he's tearing it apart. It's just like you feel that. You feel you can almost smell the charred,
and it
alien.
was like that. The whole thing, the makeup effects and all of the effects was really good. I mean, even because I remember seeing one, it was just like a quick shot of something, and I was like, okay, it looks like it. Like I wasn't expecting great ones.
The spider head, probably.
No, it was in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
It was just something like quick.
Oh, okay.
I was like iffy about it, but then like the dog basically becomes a Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Like really looked like a Demogorgon.
Yeah. I mean, clearly they were. Yeah.
But
it's like
it just splits open.
Like I'm a dog.
Yeah. And right then, once again, is just like whoa, okay, and you see that the effects aren't.
It's real.
There's the old movie feeling that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But then there's that. There's awesome effects.
When you watch an old movie and you see old school digital effects, it takes you out of it. The thing is still scary because it's practical.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you could still
it's tactile. Like you can sense that that's a real thing in space.
Right.
You can touch it.
And you can it just feels, even if something like, I can see that the movement of the hydraulics or whatever that's opening. Like but it's still there.
Yeah, it's more
and
realistic.
You feel the ripping of the face, and
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just speaking of face, another one which I didn't even write down, but I'm with this movie, I know in general life I'm horrible with names. So with this movie there were a lot of like just short names and I couldn't keep them straight. But whatever guy gets fingers just jammed into his face and they're just pulling the skin away from his head.
Windows. No, it's not Windows. It's Fuchs.
That was that was intense too.
Yeah, because it's like
and it made me hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it's like they're going to Blair's, like where they're discovering the thing
in the basement.
His little spaceship he's building, and it's like. And it's just it's a one-hand thing. He just puts his hand on his face, and then it just like goes up under his face.
And at first,
it's like It's such a great
Yeah,
moment.
and at first I didn't notice it. I thought he just like slammed against the wall, and then all of a sudden, like I really saw the fingers moving inside of his skin, and I was like, man,
that's good stuff.
that's gross. And that down there is also where I would say my only like jump scare happened.
Oh, when it pops out, the Blair monster.
No, it was just the guy that was down there, Belair.
Yeah.
It was just him, and he popped around a corner or something.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And it got me.
I think that's when he scares what's his name and faces.
Oh, okay, it might have been.
I think it's that moment.
It might have been that moment, and then he grabs his
I can
face.
hear the screech in the soundtrack.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
But that moment got me.
Yeah.
It was a jump scare, and I was like, oh,
a good
I
one.
appreciate a good jump scare.
Yeah.
I don't like being jump scared, but that one was good, and because it wasn't a movie full of those,
Yeah.
I didn't feel.
It's not, that might be like one of the only jump scare in the movie.
That was the only one for
that's
me.
deliberately like a jump, like, oh, I'm popping around the corner,
Right.
you know?
It was good. It was
Yeah.
good, and then I think you're right. That's when he
Puts his
Puts
fingers
some-
in his face.
in his skin.
Yeah.
Not even just in his skin.
Yeah, you can like see the fingers under the skin,
Yeah.
under the surface of the skin.
But even then, and going back to graphics though, but going back to graphics, it is an ick type situation because the graphics are so good.
Yeah,
for
because it's like, it looks
back then.
real.
Right.
I mean,
100%. It hurt my face.
I know, like the spider head is not one of the most realistic ones, but right before the spider head, when the neck.
oh
steps
yeah,
back
yeah,
under
and
the
you
table,
can see the veins.
And it's
and the
ripping apart.
vertebrae is,
Yeah.
like, it's separating. Is
Yeah.
like, oh god,
That's
it's so slow and
if I
gross.
remember, it's like there's pieces of like bubble gum in there.
Okay.
Actually, some of it. Yeah, it's
I could see how that would work though. I mean, it did
that's
work.
one of the best shots in the movie because you can see it's like, and it's like one of the most seamless that you don't think like that's an effect because you can still see Norris's face, like his eyes are moving, his tongue's moving,
Yeah.
and it's just, oh man, that's part of the reason the movie like it went over budget and over schedule is because the effects were so like they were really Rob Bottin was like really a perfectionist,
Right.
and he really wanted them perfect, and so they took a lot of time shooting those.
Yeah.
The effect sequences.
But
But even like the spider head thing is like it's kind of saved by with Fuchs going, you gotta be effing kidding me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
And it is, but
and it's outrageous too. It's kind of funny.
right.
You know?
And that's what I was going to say. I honestly didn't mind that scene. It also just showed how this thing evolved and just created whatever it needed
Yeah.
to. It needed something to latch onto. Oh, here's a head.
Yeah, because
now it's a head.
I think that's is that the first time you really see it start? Like you actually see, well, you see the dogs,
Mm-hmm.
but like you see on a person, it like it trying to escape and
Right.
change and morph and
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It kind of
Yeah.
sets the tone for the fact of exactly how this thing
How it
keeps
operates,
surviving,
how it
it works. Because, this head's coming off, and all of a sudden, instead of being in the body, it attaches to that head, and that's all it is a head walking around.
That's part of the scary thing is it sets up is like,
It can be anything.
well, yeah, it can be anything, and it can be anyone because it can take over it can infect everyone like a
Right.
virus, so it can become everyone. So really, you don't know after the first couple nights. Maybe they are all the thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And once again, with this movie in Belko.
Because they ask like, what would you know if you're the thing? I forget who asked that, but like,
Right,
would you know? And it's like, I don't think they do
No.
because one of them is like he doesn't think he's the thing, and then he ends up being the thing.
Yeah.
and it's like. So they clearly don't know, like, and that's
Like,
another.
either it's a great actor,
Yeah.
or they don't know.
Yeah, and it's like that, and that's one of the things that it's like the movies builds up the paranoia is like they don't know if they're the thing, but the
Right.
person you don't know what you are,
Right.
and it's like that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it leads into exactly what I was going to say because talking about like we were with the Belko and then this.
Yeah.
It's that mass hysteria. It's that feeling trapped. And then once again, they
don't know who to
didn't know.
trust.
They didn't know
Yeah.
who to trust. They didn't know whether they trusted themselves. They did not know.
Yeah.
Which leads up to that great blood scene.
Oh my god, yeah,
It's
one of the
so
best.
intense.
It is,
And
and it's so simple.
It is.
It's just like,
but I like it because he even is dragging it out, making it intense.
Yeah.
And he tells them that. He's like, well, we think it's you, so you're going last.
Yeah, so he's trying to get the thing to like come out like, but even before he's doing the blood test, you know, and it's like,
yeah, he's like taunting it, kind of thing, but then they draw their blood, and the idea is if something hot touches it, it's going to try to survive, like it did with the head, and pull apart and find somewhere else to go, and you know they're sitting there all tied up, and he's just one by one, like it. They zoom in on the heating of the metal and then touching the blood, and
then there's this like little Gary when he has his blood sample. There's like this little bit of levity. So his is negative, you know, and he's like, "Would you mind getting me out of this couch? I don't want to be trapped," you know. And it's like it's really funny. And then the next thing I think is like, you know, it all. The next person, his, you know, hits positive.
Which I was going to say, one of them says it towards the end after the first person turned and it was an issue. Yeah, I feel like one of them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because of what happens previous, they're all tied to this chair, and when they do touch the person that's positive in one of them, he starts like going crazy. Yeah, he starts and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and like it's making the seat turn and like I think it flies up.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's just such an intense scene.
I can't wait to watch
done
this
so
in
well.
theaters.
just done so well. Oh, that's right. They're doing it in theaters.
Yeah, October 9th.
Okay.
Oh my God, I love this movie so much.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it, and it's one of those movies that
it gets better each time you watch it too.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like it would.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I watched it. Like I said, the beginning felt slow for me. Then it was good. It had good effects. And I was like, okay, maybe I enjoyed this. But then I read about it some today, just brushing up, even though I just watched it last night. But my memory's horrible. So brushing up on it a little bit. And it's like reading about it even instilled a little bit more that, oh, I really did enjoy that because that shot was nice and this shot. And, you know, like I said, sitting here, I didn't even think of the fingers in the face. But then it's such it sticks in your mind.
It's like Ring Closet Girl.
Yeah. Yeah, just about. It has that mass hysteria, the kind of what would you do? How would you react? It gives you all those feelings like Belko does.
Yeah.
I think it stands up to time in the fact that, you know, they're trapped. They're trapped in somewhere like Antarctica. It's very believable that something like this would happen somewhere like that.
I mean, it's kind of timeless. Like, you know,
right, that's what
Of course, like, you know, you don't have like cell phone. Well, I don't even know if you would get cell phone coverage in the Antarctica.
They would.
It'd be like satellite phones or something.
That,
but like,
that's the thing that keeps it timeless is the fact that in the situation they're in, it could happen any day.
They're in like a primordial state. Right. It's almost like it doesn't really matter that it's 1982. They could be in 1786 and it'd still be the same situation where they'd have guns. They'd be an alien. They would have to survive, and you know, and
they just wouldn't have the calculation for how long it would take.
Oh, that's one of my favorite scenes too, where Blair's calculating
going on the computer.
Yeah, and it's like, it's like
a little woman's voice.
It's like quaint by today's standards. It's just this little. Yeah, I think that's that's what I like so much about John Carpenter, especially the movie, is just straightforward, simple. What gets the point across the most?
Right.
The simplest is often the most
impactful.
Powerful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that moment, that realization in his face, like that, you know, and now how many days it's going to take for it to take over the world. Right. You know, and it's like, and you get his like you get where he's coming from. So he's going to destroy the race. He's going to make sure nobody gets out of this thing, you know?
Yeah. And it does. It just sets it up for,
like you don't have to show the world ending. You just have to show this little camp.
Right.
Where it all starts, you know?
Right. Exactly.
It's like the opening of The Stand, kind of like where the virus escapes.
I haven't seen it.
You've read the book.
I haven't read the book. That's why I haven't seen it. I know. I need to.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
I know.
But anyway.
I don't watch his movies before I read his books. And since I haven't read it, I haven't watched it.
Okay. Well, anyway.
It's on my list, though.
Somewhat similar, I guess. But yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
But yeah, and that, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like they're contained on this island of ice, basically. And, you know, there is no escaping and just reacting and trying to survive the best way they can.
Great mass hysteria movie is also Stephen King, The Mist.
Oh yeah. That's a great one. There's never been a more worthwhile audience reaction to a death on screen than Mrs. Carmody getting shot in the face by Toby Stevens, the grocer. Yeah. Oh my God, people went nuts for that. Just finally.
Well, yeah, because you know from the beginning that like she's creating more danger than like
Yeah.
what is going on outside.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the creatures aren't really the threat. I mean, they're a threat to a certain extent, but it's the people inside.
Right.
Like, people are the threat, not...
And that's when I really like something like, and that's why I think both of these movies, obviously, once again, weirdly, we picked things that are like...
They're somewhat similar, yeah.
But it touches on that. It touches on how people react and how things get crazy because of people.
Yeah.
And I think Stephen King does that a lot, even in like Maximum Overdrive a little bit.
Yeah.
Where they're trapped in that and people are going crazy.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite movies. I love Maximum
It's a guilty
Overdrive.
pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a guilty.
It's one of those.
Opening credits are great.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's good, but
It's fun.
Pat Engel has a rocket launcher, so it's pretty good.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, even in that movie, that's not one of the greatest ever. But
Yeah, there's still
it's
an
still
element.
fun, and there's still that element that is people.
Yeah.
And I think that makes something scary.
Oh, so you like The Thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
Yeah, I did. And I do think it'd be something worth watching again.
Yeah, because you come up with like different theories each time.
Because and I think the weird slow in the beginning for me wouldn't be that way.
Yeah. Looking for stuff that's going to like pay off later. Like,
Right.
there's a lot of little details.
And that's what I was going to say. And there's probably details that I didn't see and things like that. And so I think it would be worth a rewatch.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I mean, it holds up.
It does, yeah.
Like I said, other than the normal old movie stuff that is in any movie because of the time period.
Yeah.
You know, some special effects were amazing for that time. But there's just some sounds and stuff that make me laugh a little bit. But I'm okay with it. Old movies are good.
They are.
Sometimes.
They are, mostly.
If you want to watch a great John Carpenter movie, it's not great. It's not a good movie really at all. With Ice Cube in it, Ghost of Mars is a fun watch.
That's the one
I like
where John
Ice Cube.
Carpenter was like, "This is why I made the movie." So Ice Cube. I just wanted to see Ice Cube with like dual machine guns shooting Martians.
I think you just sold Martians. You almost sold me.
They're people Martians. They're not like,
It's like a zombie movie on
it's a
Mars.
zombie movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's like a possession zombie movie. It's not a very good movie.
It's not. But I think John Carpenter just likes his gruff 80s action hero bin.
Yeah, I mean he's
mainly it's not like believable.
Well, especially like Escape from New York. Like he's big on the anti-hero. You know, it's like so. You know, Kurt Russell's amazing. He's definitely playing up the kind of like Clint Eastwood, Man with No Name vibe. But I like that even like he twists it on his head in Big Trouble in Little China, which is one of the most funny, entertaining movies you'll ever watch. They set it up like he's like you know this kind of Stallone action hero guy, and he's a complete doofus. And he pretty much just barely gets out alive.
Oh, that's great. But I mean, going back, I mentioned it earlier, but as far as like alien things, I don't know why, but it usually loses me when it's an alien. And this one didn't because it was.
Well, it's not really.
It's more than that.
It's not really about it's not like an alien invasion or something. It's like it's just about these men.
I mean, I liked Mars Attacks, but that's totally different. And I don't know what it is. Like even like I mentioned earlier in the Stephen King book, when it's aliens, I'm like, nope, I'm done. I like American Horror Story. I really liked part of it, and then it got to Alien. Like one of the seasons, it got to Aliens, and I was like, no, and it's not even. I don't know if it's because like. I don't know. I have no idea. I definitely think there's probably aliens out there. It'd be really self-centered of us to think we're the only living things in the whole universe. But I don't know. When it gets to like they're the bad guy, I'm like, meh. I'd rather it be a person or a man-created thing. And maybe it's because it's scarier to me.
Yeah.
Like I like horror and I want it to be scary, and maybe that's the thing. Aliens just don't scare me.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, we both liked both movies. So there's that. Okay. So that wraps up our talk about these two movies.
Yep.
And like we've said before, we're doing 2 a month. So we have one more we're going to do for October, spooky month. Hopefully horror related, I guess, is what we're heading for.
Yes.
So what did you pick for me?
I picked... It's technically a horror movie, I think. The Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
Which I'm shocked and appalled that you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I have
as
not.
much as you love serial killer stuff.
Yeah.
You're such a serial killer junkie. I'm just like, I don't understand how you made it this long without seeing Silence of the Lambs. It's probably the best horror serial killer movie ever.
It's terrifying.
And it's
truly.
like, it's such a great character piece, and like the acting, like it's one of only, I think, 3 movies to win all 5 major Oscars: picture, actor, actress, director, and script.
Oh wow!
It's like one of the only horror movies to win most of those.
Yeah. It's the only horror movie to probably the one Best Picture that I can think of.
Okay.
I mean, it's like you could classify it as like a thriller or something,
Suspense thriller,
but it's really like certain sections are straight up horror.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think horror and thriller kind of go hand in hand. In a lot of movies.
But it's like The Thing. Like, it's one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
And it's like, if you don't like it, the podcast is over.
Okay.
I can't imagine you not liking this movie.
Yeah, I've always heard I should watch it, so that'll be interesting. It's something that like I've kind of always wanted to see, so here I am having to watch it.
There you go.
So I picked a movie for you, and I think this goes more towards stupid, fun, campy stuff that I like.
Okay.
But one, I will throw it out there that it is so hard to pick movies that you haven't seen, and especially horror. So there's that.
Hobie picks a lot of horror movies I haven't seen. Of course, they're all made in like the last 5 years.
Well, this one's a newer one.
Because I'm old and I watch old movies.
I'm good at my job.
And I don't know if you're going to like it, but I enjoyed it when I watched it. But it's Hellfest.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so it's a newer movie.
I heard it was pretty good.
I liked it. I mean, it's more like a slasher type thing.
Yeah.
And I enjoy those, obviously, Scream. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what you thought about it. I think it's more like a fun, campy type movie.
If I remember,
which
like the
I like
trailers
those.
is that's kind of the vibe it gave off with it. Was like, not super serious.
Yeah, which I kind of like that sometimes. I like a little bit of laughter with my murder.
I mean, Scream's like your favorite movie, so that makes sense.
I mean, sometimes murder doesn't have to be completely serious.
Yeah. All right.
Gotta have fun with it.
I look forward to watching Hellfest.
All right. So, Silence of the Lambs and Hellfest next time.
That'll be up on October 15th.
Yes.
Yeah.
So join us, watch those, and then join us for the discussion. All right. So that wraps us up for this episode. Thanks for joining us. And I guess we'll be back on October 15th discussing
Silence of the Lambs and Hellfest.
Yes, that exactly. So until then, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
And this has been Real Opposite.